Much like most of you, I saw the Peaker Man trailer, and it was the greatest thing my eyeballs have ever seen. I have seen that trailer so many times, and I still remember the first time I watched it. It was 9 a.m., I was waiting for the trailer to drop, and I watched it on the train on my way to work, and I'm gonna be 100% honest, I cried. I saw that trailer with a girl, and immediately hooked up with her afterwards. That's the power this trailer holds. But today, we're not gonna talk about that peak. No. We're talking about this peak. Smallville. Smallville is a show many youngins have probably not seen, but for something that's produced by CW, I'm not gonna lie, this shit's low-key fire. I'm sure James Gunn is going to avoid the Superman origins because it's been done to hell and back, and also because he told me, and James Gunn and I are totally gang, and I know how the next 4 phases of the DCU are gonna go. So let's just see what we'll be missing out on this new Superman movie. The episode begins with a live reenactment of the dinosaur extinction. We see Superman's pod flying within the meteors, and then see a shot of Smallville, which I am 110% sure is filled by racist and KKK supporters. We see a young Lex Luthor with amazing hair. Enjoy while it lasts, big bro. It's bald heaven after this. We see Jonathan and Martha Kent. Jonathan is played by this absolute stud and a half. I mean, just look at him. Martha and Jonathan either can't have kids or haven't tried yet. So Martha wished for a baby. The meteors start crashing into Smallville, and this girl's parents absolutely bite the curb. Rib Bozo, you will not be missed. And you're met with the ugliest crying you'll ever see. I mean, I know it's mean to make fun of kids, but she's probably 40 now, so it's fair game. Lex goes into a cornfield and is met by this weirdo, who is hung up because the jocks of the Smallville High School choose someone to hang up for... I don't know, this reason is never explained. Anytime Homecoming comes around, these motherfuckers pick someone and then just hang him up, crucify him straight up. And it's never explained why they do this, for good luck, I don't know. One of the meteors drops and makes Lex lose all of his hair, and gave this pile of bones powers, but we'll get to that sauce in a bit. Slow your roll, ladies. Martha and Jonathan come across Kal-El's ship and decide to adopt the boy, who, by the way, is a full-blown toddler and not a baby. Meaning this child should remember being in a meteor and being adopted and whatnot. I mean, he literally walks to them. Now, it's important to note that most, if not all, of these meteors contain kryptonite or some amount of it. Kryptonite is the thing that makes Superman weak. The reason that's important and so utterly dog shit is something I'll get to in just a bit. We see a grown-up Clark who is an absolute stud, and this version of Superman, so good on him. At this point, Clark doesn't know he has powers. Well, most of his powers he figures out as the show goes on. As of right now, he is only aware that he is super strong and can run really fast. But later in the series, he gets absolutely dusted by Bart Allen's Flash and eats absolute fucking shit. He wants to join the football team, but Papa is reluctant as he might expose himself. Clark misses the bus, something that the Spider-Man movie will shamelessly copy a year later, and decides to use his speed to get to school. Regardless, these two are Clark's friends. Friends. And she cool, her name is Chloe, but this guy is meant to be Clark's best friend. And with a friend like that, I'd rather take a kryptonite bullet to the skull. Bro is so fake and manipulative and such a toxic and unsupportive friend. See, Clark doesn't join the football team in this episode, but later in the series he does join the football team because the coach of the football team tells him to. And this motherfucker tries to scare him off, saying, "Oh, what will your father think about it?" to make him not join. And when Clark finally gets a date with the girl that he's been obsessed with for so long, Clark leaves to save someone, and this man takes the limo Lex gifted Clark for his date to impress his own. This motherfucker's a bitch. He does have immaculate wrist though, check this out.
Maybe you and I could go together. I mean, not as a date thing, more of a friend thing.
Moving on, this right here is Lana. Clark has a huge crush on Lana, and he does for most of season 1 and season 2. And I can't stand Lana. I hate this woman so much. This woman is the girl whose parents absolutely eat shit by that meteor. I mean, even the parents didn't want to be around her, bro. She has a necklace made of kryptonite that her aunt collected from the meteor. And Chloe makes a joke talking about some Clark stumbles when he's within 5 feet of her. Yes, because he literally starts to feel ill and weak when he's around kryptonite. But yeah, Clark literally falls when he's close to her because of the kryptonite. He starts to feel sick. She also has an on again, off again relationship with this guy, Whitney. And even though she keeps telling Clark, you really understand me, when confronted by Clark and asked why him, as in, why are you with this bozo? She says, because anytime I need him, he always seems to be there. Oh, is you dumb? Clark is the motherfucker fighting these goblins, ghouls. Old MacDonald only comes in to rescue you, and you see that? This motherfucker Whitney Houston, and that face ass sucks too, because he keeps taking credit for all the saving Clark does. She keeps giving Clark hope that something might happen between them, and hooks up with him? Him? When Clark, word to my motherfucking dead, Kent is right there? Man, fuck this bitch. She does give him inspiration to the name though. Cool reference.
So what are you? Man or Superman?
Regardless, Scarecrow Man was humiliated by his school's football team. The meteor dust that took Lex's hair gave him some cool powers, which include the fact that he can age and also electrical powers. He is now looking for revenge on the people who wronged him. Snooze fest. Bro, where is bum, 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 bum. Lex is all grown up now and is running the Luthor Corp office in Smallville. His dad is still alive, so it's not LexCorp quite yet. But this motherfucker is driving his Beamer at great speeds. I mean, I would too if I was in a town with no cars and a population of 4,200 people. Also, driving gloves? Bro thinks he me. He checks his phone because he gets a call. Texting and driving back in 2001? Bro is a trendsetter. When he tries to save himself from something that fell out of a truck and... Oh no! Oh no! My goat! No! Clark pulls this goofy ass stance and is taken down to the river. But people forget this motherfucker is soon to become Superman, bro. So he saves Lex by busting the roof of the car. It's more important later on in the series, but not now. It's just very cool to see. Clark makes out with Lex, and for the remainder of the season and a few seasons afterwards, Lex absolutely glazes Clark any chance he gets. That kiss must have been laced with pink kryptonite, or that tongue must have been magical, because Lex is absolutely enamored with bro. As a Superman fan, I can't seem to get myself to agree on something. Clark isn't meant to be saving people at his age. He is 16, maybe 17. Clark is supposed to be an angsty and annoyed teenager protected by his parents. He is not meant to go out and use his powers willy-nilly the way he does in this show. Because a part of him wants to be a normal kid, but he can't be normal because of his powers. This is explored really nicely later on in the episode. I think this show explores that side of Clark really well, but his parents are just okay with him saving folks with little to no repercussions. He is never taught a lesson to be responsible and to use these powers for good. He sort of just does it. But later on in the series, Jonathan does prove why Clark/Superman need to be good. Regardless, Clark stalks Lana through a telescope on his barn that he and his father refer to as the Fortress of Solitude. More like the Fortress of No Bitches. Pack it up, buddy, you're lost. Nothing of note in this scene, just that Lana gives this boy right here her kryptonite necklace. Remember that for later, everyone. Scarecrow Boy gets his revenge on the bullies, and Lex gives his boyfriend a new truck, though father's pride is way too big to accept it, and Clark low-key finds that annoying. This scene is a good explanation of what I meant. Jonathan does talk about how Clark didn't save Lex because he was expecting a reward, and that shouldn't be his motive to save people. But aside from a few scenes like this, Clark just has free range. Sure, he's not evil, but he's never told not to be evil. Clark is told the truth that he's an alien and is shown his spaceship, and my goat is reasonably pissed off and runs away like the Roadrunner. Before we continue, it's not in this episode, but the show has a great opening. It's so 2000s core, I can't even explain it. The simple yet flashy intro with Save Me by Remy Zero playing in the background not only describes the show, but the concept of Superman as well in a weird way. Lana comes to visit her parents at the graveyard, thinking she Arthur Morgan. Clark is there for some reason, with this very cool shot, mind you. Angel wings indicating that he's an angel. He talks very ominously to Lana, but this bitch is so stupid in the entire show that she invites this weird man just pacing around at the graveyard to talk to her parents. And I don't mean that figuratively or metaphorically. This crazy gal literally has a full-blown conversation with her parents, laughing and waiting for them to reply. As off-putting as that was, brothers will do anything to get some pussy, so he plays it cool and pretends to hear them too. He better than me. Whitney sees them talking after Clark walks Lana home, and it's up for Clark. This motherfucker is so stupid for no reason, brother. Is she not allowed to have friends? But, to be very fair, Lana did say she'll save Clark a dance and also kisses bro on the cheek? Ah, hell nah. From the streets she came, to the streets she will go. See what I mean about her leading Clark on, having a whole ass boyfriend? Cynical, bro. She is literally the worst. Also, Lana forgot a whole ass horse at the cemetery, but we move. Clark gives the truck back to Lex, and Lex drops this banger of a line saying, "Do you believe a man can fly?" Has to be one of the hardest assortment of words I have ever seen put together in a sentence. "You will believe a man can fly" is going to be on my headstone. Word to my jits, bro. Chloe writes for the school paper, so in her office, at school by the way, she has this wall called the Wall of Weird, which is all the weird things that have started to happen in Smallville ever since the meteor shower. And now, I am about to crash out. So ever since the meteor crash, many people and creatures and plants have gained some sort of power slash ability. This is because of the kryptonite that was in the meteors. While some were affected and given powers, there's some who have kryptonite infused into their veins. So in later episodes, there are people who have a natural edge over Clark because he starts to tweak out if he's close to them because the kryptonite makes him weak. But then there are others who just have superpowers but don't have kryptonite running through their veins. While this is a good concept to make sure that Clark isn't just overpowering every single villain he comes across and something that the CW Flash will shamelessly copy years later, it makes no goddamn sense. Because all of these people were around the meteor that killed Lana's parents, and that meteor had kryptonite because Lana has a necklace made from that kryptonite. None of these people have powers, neither does Lana. But Scarecrow Man got his powers from the smoke caused by the meteor? I get that it's just a storytelling tool so that Clark isn't just beating every villain in 0.7 seconds, but keep in mind, this is a very inexperienced Clark. He can very easily get his ass beat or be weaker just because he is still learning how everything works. He doesn't need kryptonite or anything adjacent to be the reason he loses in the middle of the episode and wins at the end because he finds a loophole to do so. Later on in the series, in episode 15 and 16 and much of season 2, the show is peak. The writing is peak. The villains are peak. It is just initially when you start watching Smallville, you start to notice that this is kind of stupid. But the show is still peak, so I'ma let it slide. Clark notices that the meteor killed Lana's parents, and he blames himself for it and leaves. Whitney is still mad at Clark for what he saw, which is still very unexplained, and chooses Clark to be this year's Scarecrow, and he shoves him. And oh, great heavens, if I was Clark Kent, I would tweak out because who Does this motherfucker think he is on my mama, bro? I would air all of these motherfuckers out, bro. How dare you, bro? I am Clark motherfucking Kent, bro. Clark doesn't even have laser vision yet, but I would unlock it just to fry this bro to his core. I would punch him to the moon, bro. How dare he step up to me, toe to toe, to me, and tries to say fuck you. What did he say fuck me for? I would throw hands faster, bro. They would call me Barry Allen. It would be crazy. Anyways, Clark does try to punch him, but he's wearing the kryptonite necklace, so Clark is weak. So Whitney punches Clark, which is absolute and utter bullshit, and takes him to become the new Scarecrow. And while this is tragic to look at, I am not going to lie. This shot is hard as fuck. Superman crucified, symbolizing the Jesus comparison he's been getting his entire life, and the S on his chest to tell everyone that no matter which way you flip it, the bread always comes first. The reason Clark hasn't escaped is because he's wearing the necklace, which Whitney just put on Clark, saying some bullshit like, "This is the closest you'll ever get to Lana." School shooter goes to homecoming to air everyone out, and Luthor helps Clark escape. Probably had a half chub too, seeing his boy shirtless like that. Don't worry, Lex. We the say. Clark makes an excellent point talking about they didn't do anything to you. And Loki handles this guy in 5 minutes. Light work, no reaction, rib bozo, you will not be missed. The funniest thing about this show is after Clark beats/saves these people, they lose their powers and just forget that Clark had these remarkable abilities to take them down, and no one ever exposes him to be this powerful being. Peak show, but you can never seem to forget that this is a CW show. So bro, yuck, get it out my face. Clark hallucinates about Lana skipping homecoming to come to his freaky ass, dark ass, bitch ass barn and give him the dance she promised him. Just let it go, big bro. In a few years, you'll find Lois Lane and she's gonna make you see stars, my brother. Because if I ever got a girl who looks like that and I show up with bruises, don't save me, bro. I'm right where I'm supposed to be. This show has its up and down moments, but overall, this show is really good, and I really advise many of you to watch it if you haven't given it a shot yet. Though 10 seasons is a lot, but the show is still peak. And for the time, the effects are cool sometimes. Plus, Superman's my goat. Right below Robert Pattinson, my goat! Well, I'm gonna get up out of here now. Thank you for watching. Toodles.